Hi, everyone. I'm Maud Mosley, and welcome to the first segment of Tunes Tuesday, where today I am sitting down with indie synth rock band Cat and the Hurricane from Madison, Wisconsin. Hello, folks. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hello. Yes, that is correct. We are Cat and the Hurricane. My name is Cat. I'm 27 and I use all pronouns.
My name is Alex. Um, Queer trans, I use they them pronouns.
And I'm Benjamin, and I am 24, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. And I use they them pronouns as well.
Amazing. Thank you. And do you want to tell us just a little bit about the band?
We're a three-piece out of Madison, Wisconsin. We write sad lesbian music.
It's true.
It's
we
true.
do.
We write music. We use our personal experiences to convey stories and just, I don't know, existing as queer people in the music industry and trying to navigate it. Here we are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, that right there is what this whole series is about. So, which is amazing. And I also love that you all call it, sad lesbian music, because I feel like when I'm listening to it, especially when I'm listening to Walls, I feel like I'm still like yearning after like my best friend from middle school, I feel like everyone has that experience.
Thank you. Just thank you. Yes.
So I want to congratulate you because I know recently you won first place in the Indie Alt Music category in the 2020 Best of Madison and New Artist of the Year in the 2020 Madison Area Music Association Awards, which is incredible. But past that personal achievement, what do you think these awards mean to the people that identify with you and your music?
That you too can do this.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think that as queer and trans individuals, it's a really, really big deal. And it's happening more and more, I think, in the present day than it had been, I think, when we were growing up. And definitely before that as well, not that we had personal experience, but I think it's really, really important for queer and trans folks to be able to see themselves represented and celebrated, and to see folks who are queer and trans not only just existing and surviving, but thriving and achieving, right? And creating. And I think too, since we write queer and trans music, like, and anyone who has heard our music and seen our shows, like, we knows that we're speaking from the heart and from experience. So I think for queer and trans folks, and I'm speaking personally to this as well, when folks see themselves represented in stories that go on to be, celebrated in a formal way in this heteronormative, cisnormative world, like, I think that speaks volumes. That's huge.
Yeah, and like Alex said, we're queer and trans musicians, so like it's not just the focus on being queer, which is a big part of our platform, but like we didn't win an award for like best queer band. It was just like new band, so it wasn't like there's this separate sort of category for queer artists that are like, well, you're not in the, on the big stage, but like we are still trying to make our music the best that it can be as well. And so like, I think that's huge to see that you don't have to create your own space as much as it's helpful to have queer only spaces, but you can also still succeed just on merit of your accomplishments and talent. And so I think I don't know, that feels really special as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's like so much joy in those sentiments. And I love this idea of like, you can make spaces for yourself, but you can also go out into spaces that aren't made for you and, take over, be like, no, I belong here just as much as anybody else. And I really love you saying that because, I feel like there's so many artists, especially like, up and coming artists, ones that are trying to find their place in that and are really struggling with that. And I think it's like just like really nice for everyone to be able to hear that that's possible.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So then doing a bit of a dive into your social media, because obviously that's a very big part of everything at this point, especially as the world is now very online. The tagline on a lot of your social media profiles is every genre, every gender. Can you tell me a bit more about how this line came about and what it means to you?
For sure.
Yes. I was just describing it as a modge podge of every artist, every band we've all collectively have ever listened to, and integrate it into what this band is. We're not just this or that, and maybe not even anywhere in between. We're just kind of all of it at the same time. And I feel like that goes as far as, gender identity as well. Like, it's fluid. So we're a little bit of everything because we are inspired by many things.
Yeah, and I think that like speaks to some of like we're currently doing a little bit of writing, and like I think that gender is like for some folks can be very 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 fluid. Some folks a little bit more on the static side, but I think that what's key to that is presence and being in the moment and identifying in that present moment, right? And I think that that comes up in our writing all the time. And even when we're playing songs that we've released, I feel like we play them a little differently, like more often
Yes.
than
Yeah.
not,
Yes.
with a little bit different influence or spice. And it might be subtle, mostly because I think I've played these songs 25,000 times as well as these folks. But I definitely think that that comes up for me too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think like one of the things that stood out to me about this tagline, and I feel like you kind of just touched on it there, is how much the language of genre and gender overlap. Like, we talk about like genreless musicians, and then we talk about like genderless people, and, like you can genre bend and you can gender bend. So I think that's all just really fun how much those things like can be tied together and how much you have, tied them together through yourselves and your music.
Yeah, and I think that was like at the beginning of when I joined the band. So there was a time when it was Kat solo, and then it was Kat and I as a duo, and then we've been playing together, the three of us, for over a year now. But when Kat and I were first playing, we did the thing that a lot of musicians do starting out, which is just say yes to mostly any gig that you're offered. But for us, that felt really especially true. Like we would play on one night, we would be opening for a drag show, and then the next night we would be playing at a biker bar with these like country steel guitar artists, and like one maybe was more comfortable for us, but like we were still able to, I don't know, create fans, and like people said they liked our music at both places. So it was kind of like learning to also kind of move between all these different spaces and share bills with artists of all kinds. We ended up opening for like a metal show basically one time, and you just kind of go with the flow and try to stay true to yourselves regardless of where you're at, but still like being able to move through all of those different influences.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, past these awards, this has been a big year for you because earlier this year you also released Libra. And following this release, you have another single coming out on November 13th called Sorry That I'm Like This, which I am personally very excited to listen to after listening to the Libra album. So what has creating and releasing an album during, COVID been like?
Wow.
We found out that we can do everything on our phones and our computers. That's what we found out.
Yeah.
Which is very good, but also it lacks the personal intimacy of talking face to face. But I mean, a lot of music is digital these days anyway, so.
Yeah, it's been really, really interesting. I feel like we've been doing a lot of live streams and trying here and there, when it's safe to do so. We're from Wisconsin, and that's like a very on fire, actively state right now for this here coronavirus. So so prioritizing safety while also communicating with other folks who are also balancing safety, and I think also dealing with the uncertainty while also like I feel like our upcoming release it has been just such a beacon of hope in the midst of all of this too, And it's been really heartening to see how many people have responded and connected with it. We feel like I saw somewhere recently that despite everything being on folks' phones, like social media engagement for a lot of people is like actually being heavily impacted, and like 40% less engagement than pre-COVID times, which is wild, first of all. But two, in the midst of all that, knowing that we only have that as our only like avenue really, that people are still like interested, they're still like, we're still being able to engage and meet new folks, and share our music with the world. And that's just been a joy in the midst of all this just stress and trauma, you know, the whole thing.
That part though.
that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm glad like this has been, you know, less distressing as an artist and a bit more of a way to still like hold on to community and hold on to like what a future outside of this could look like. Cause I think, you know, those are two things people definitely need right now in so many ways. And they're not always the easiest to find. So I'm glad, you know, you're all finding that through the music and, you know, through the people connecting with your music. It's really lovely.
Yeah, it's been a gift.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me for the first Tunes Tuesday segment. It's so amazing that you were willing to do this. And I just want to say for anyone watching, links to find their music and any of their social media will be just below this video, so you can go support them there. I strongly recommend checking that out. Definitely listen to their new single when it comes out, and support queer and 2S LGBTQ plus artists, you know, whether you identify with them or not, because they are out here spreading so much joy and talent. So thank you. I'll say bye, folks, and the band might wanna say bye too.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much.